The Minnesota Vikings already 106 yards on the ground, his first career 100-yard rushing game, and there is an entire second half to come. Rich Eisen along with Deion Sanders, LaDainian Tomlinson, Michael Irvin, and you first, Steve Mariucci. How are the Bucs doing this thing tonight so far?
Well, I'll tell you what, Josh Freeman is handling this crowd noise very well. He's thrown 2 touchdown passes already, but the key is that running back over there, Doug Martin, a youngster from Boise State with his 106 yards. First time he's ever been over the 100-yard mark. They're pounding it on the ground.
It's a game filled with turnovers, and I agree with you, Martin. The time of possession is 17 minutes to 12 minutes. It's a game full of turnovers that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are truly taking full advantage of.
We talked about it in the pregame. How should Tampa Bay attack the Minnesota Vikings? And we said, go up early and try to put the game on Christian Ponder. Now, they still have time to keep Adrian Peterson in this game, but continue to do what you're doing, Tampa Bay, and put this game back on Christian Ponder.
Yeah, I thought Minnesota would be doing what Tampa Bay is doing. In fact, Tampa Bay is controlling this game through Doug Martin, as Coach said. And if they keep this up, they're going to come out of here with a win, guys.
Well, only 4 catches for Percy Harvin. One of them is for a touchdown, and they've been booting the ball out of the end zone on kickoffs every single time, not giving Harvin, one of the more dynamic players in the league, a chance to do his thing with great frequency tonight. As far as Robert Griffin III, the ball is always in his hands in Washington, D.C., and he almost took care of the New York Giants last week, almost upsetting the defending Super Bowl champs. Prior now to put the Pittsburgh Steelers in his sights, RG3 sat down with our Melissa Stark.
Mike Shanahan described the concussion that you suffered against Atlanta as mild.
Trying to run, and he's hit hard at the 5-yard line. Who's shaking up?
How bad did you think it was?
I had temporary memory loss, and now scientifically I did have a concussion, and it wasn't as bad as a severe concussion. So technically it was a mild concussion, but it's nothing to joke about. It's nothing to downplay. And I made sure that everyone knew that I was going to be all right, and I'd be honest with them about all my symptoms so I could play.
How much are you willing to change your game so that you don't take all of those hits?
I told the team the following week that I wouldn't put myself in harm's way like that again, because it's my job to be out there with them fighting for us to win those games.
But that's such a big part of your game. How hard is it to hold back?
I mean, it's not hard, in my opinion, because the past 2 games I've rushed for the most yards I've rushed in my NFL career. I've also done the best job of protecting myself against the Vikings and the Giants, whether it's run out of bounds, sliding. And you just have to make yourself aware of it, because you want to be aggressive, but at the same time you have to play smart. So I've made a conscious effort to do that.
Here in D.C. with the election just around the corner, I'm sure you've seen the signs, RG3 for president.
I have seen those signs.
What do you think?
Right now the 22-year-old me has no interest in politics as far as running for election or anything of that nature, but it's something that could happen later down the line.
Are you more popular than Obama or Romney here in D.C.?
I have no idea. I don't put a gauge on those kind of things. What they do say is if you're the quarterback of the Washington Redskins, that you can be the most popular guy in the city, but right now we just need to continue to focus on winning.
And he is going to try and take down the Pittsburgh Steelers, and more on that first on the field, which is a program that LaDainian Tomlinson will be doing 7 a.m. on Sunday when we take a look at the entire Week 8 schedule and sift through for an upset special. Which one do you have in your mind, LaDainian?
I have Philadelphia beating the Atlanta Falcons. Philadelphia is playing at home. We talked about them being on a bye week. A long 2 weeks for them, talking about Andy Reid possibly being fired, as well as Michael Vick's job being in jeopardy. They will show up this Sunday, guys, and beat the Atlanta Falcons.
I don't know if this is an upset, but the Seahawks at the Lions, I don't even know if is that an upset?
I don't know. Are you choosing the Seahawks or the Lions?
I'm choosing the Seahawks. I'm choosing the Seahawks. I can't even say that's an upset.
But they can't win on the road, so it might be an upset.
Right.
They win at home easily. Now, I took this matchup in Week 1, and everybody laughed me out the place. I'm going to take it now. The Cowboys over the Giants again this weekend.
I'm taking San Diego's going to travel 3 time zones to, yes, the Cleveland Browns. And you know what? The Browns have 4 rookies on offense, and they're getting better every week.
This could
be an ambush game.
Don't do it, Coach.
Wow, now that's a real upset special right there. NFL every Sunday's game day on NFL Network. We mentioned first in the field, and NFL game day morning comes your way 9 a.m. Takes you up till the 1 o'clock Eastern kickoffs, after which comes the 4 o'clock games when NFL Game Day highlights comes your way. I'll be doing that with Mooch and Dion again this very Sunday. NFL Game Day final finishes things off. I got to tell you, Steve, the Vikings best come back because they'll never let you cling on to Ragnar like that ever again.
Good job.
It may be on Mooch. It's not the run defense for the Vikings.
Great arm placement here. I'm glad you had him around his neck.
It's been a turnover festival. Rondé Barber stripping Adrian Peterson. They turned that into 7 points. The Vikings are down by 10 at the half, kicking off week 8.
And we welcome you to Minneapolis, everybody. Josh Freeman got level, but it's complete to Vincent Jackson. The lob to the corner, touchdown, Eric Lorick. To the corner, caught, Harvin, touchdown. Adrian Peterson lost the ball. Williams in the corner, got it, touchdown. Buccaneers, Vikings, let's go. Just about set to start the third quarter here on our Thursday Night Football as we take a look at the first half game summary presented by Gold Rush. Tampa Bay had the ball almost 5 minutes more than Minnesota. I think the key one's the second from the bottom down there. Points off turnovers. Minnesota put it on the ground a couple of times. Tampa Bay turned that into points. And Mike, here we are starting a second half when Tampa Bay's had trouble holding on to leads. Minnesota, for the most part, has had leads in their 5 wins, so something's going to give here.
Yeah, and I think you had to be impressed with that rookie tailback at Tampa Bay.
Right.
I mean, Doug Martin, for me, has been the difference in the football game outside of the turnover story.
You take a look at what he's done in the first half, over 100 yards on the ground.
Love his patience. Fullback gets up in the hole, Lorick, and watch him read the block by Lorick. Sticks his foot in the ground, comes all the way back to the left. Little counter play. This time, number 79, the right guard, Jamon Meredith, gets right on his hip and then accelerates through the hole at the proper time. Patience, cutting ability, toughness, 14 carries for 106 yards. Wow, big first half.
He'll get his chance to handle the ball early in the third quarter because the Bucs will get it first. Blair Walsh to kick. Third quarter underway. Ben takes it about 7 yards deep and takes a knee as we check in with Alex.
Hey, Brad. Well, Greg Schiano telling me at the half that his rookie running back had just a great feel in the first half. The Bucs in that first half really playing their style of offense, running the ball and occasionally being able to take a big shot. Schiano, though, was mindful at the half of how many times his rookie running back has touched the ball, 16 times total. So he told me that they'll look to get LeGarrette Blount more involved in the second half to make sure that Doug's legs remain fresh. Of course, Leslie Frazier saying that they've had trouble against the run, Mike and Brad, because they have had trouble in their gap controls. Look for them to improve on that in the second half.
All right, Alex, thank you. Dallas Clark in motion. Quick slant thrown sidearm to try to get it around Robinson, and it's incomplete.
And Robinson was there again, as was defensive tackle Kevin Williams. Both of them had their, I don't even know how he got it through the two of them.
Kevin Williams having a laugh there. That brings up second down and 10.
And what Alex was talking about as far as gap control is you're talking about the front seven and a lack of discipline in getting the right fit, being in the right gap at the right time.
3 wide out set here from the 20. Freeman, quick drop. The quick throw out in the flat is to Dallas Clark. He's got a first down before he's knocked out of bounds, but he picked up about 17.
That's just a simple slant slide combination. You're going to see a slant from the outside and the slide by the tight end. They jump the slant. He gives it to the tight end, Dallas Clark. Chad Greenway nowhere near him. Throws it right between two players again.
That one had eyes, didn't it?
Sure did.
Clark's had 3 big catches tonight for 40 yards. First down at the 37. Here's a counter. Williams broke 1 tackle. Not going to get away from the second and third. He lost a yard.
Yeah, Kevin Williams made him run the hump there. They're going to pull Jamon Meredith, the right guard, and Kevin Williams comes over top of him and forces the tailback.
Chris Cook holding his right wrist. Starting corner coming off from Minnesota. And that'll put A.J. Jefferson over in that spot.
That's a shame because this kid's just starting to come on. He's 6'2", 212. Great big body, and Jefferson they traded for in the offseason, long corner from Fresno.
Second down, 11. Freeman wants to throw a screen, gets it to Martin, and another stiff arm, and he pops through, and Martin is going to be gone. Doug Martin, 64 yards for a touchdown.
That was absolutely beautiful, and I love the burst. I thought he was going to wait for a block, but he didn't. He saw the hole, he accelerated through it. Watch when he gets out wide. They set the screen up perfectly away from the tight bunch set. Now he gets the ball in his hand. 77, Carl Nix is there. He cuts inside that block on Greenway, missed tackles, and then it burst in acceleration. I'm not sure Greg Schiano's going to worry about how many touches he gets, Ness.
I don't think so. Give it to him.
That's a pretty good touch right there, man.
Longest pass play allowed by the Vikings this year. And now they really have put themselves in a hole here in the third quarter, as it's about to be 27-10. Barth's extra point is good. Shocking the folks here at Mall of America Field. Doug Martin, the rookie, caps off an 80-yard drive in just 4 plays. Did 64 of it on that screen pass for the touchdown. Well, it only took less than a minute and a half for Doug Martin to add to his total. He's got the same amount of yards as the Vikings do as a team. And Mike Mayock said a couple of minutes ago, I've really been impressed with Doug Martin. I think the impression continues, doesn't it?
It sure does. 2 first-round running backs, and he's earning his stripes, let me tell you that.
Percy Harvin can only watch this one go out the back of the end zone. Rondé Barber, the oldest guy in the field, has had a great game. The youngest guy in the field, Doug Martin's had an even better game on the offensive side for Tampa Bay. And now Minnesota tries to dig itself out of a 17-point deficit. Adrian Peterson wanted to do a stop and start, and instead he just got a stop.
Now you talk about rookies. Doug Martin's one of them, obviously. Mark Barron, another first-round pick. But the guy that made the play there was Levante David, their second-round pick out of Nebraska. Brad, he's a guy that ran like 4.46 at the combine. People thought he was an undersized linebacker, but I'm telling you, you put the tape on, he's so fast he can go over or under blocks and still get to the ball carrier.
Here's a pass out in the flat to Adrian Peterson. That's his first reception of the night, and it loses a couple. Rondé Barber came up and made the play again.
Brad, what you're starting to see, and I think people will understand, is the Vikings are somewhat limited offensively. They might have 2 explosive athletes in Peterson and Harvin, but they need somebody else to step up and take the load off those 2 guys, because you can single up on the rest of that team. Aroma Shadou's not going to beat you. Michael Jenkins is not going to beat you. You know, Jerome Simpson's the guy that's got to step up, and what did he do with his 1 catch? He fumbled it.
He did. Rudolph, the tight end, is split out to the bottom of your screen as the extra receiver. Ponder running for his life. And he's got to throw it away. And the Vikings will have to kick. And the Boo Birds out again.
You know, it's a situation. Who's going to make a play? And that time I thought he had a chance with Kyle Rudolph. You mentioned he was split out wide. Rudolph has 25 catches on the year. He doesn't have explosive speed, but he's got great hands. And they've got to find a way to get the ball to some other guys because everybody's squatting on 28 and 12.
4th 3 and out in this game for the Vikings. And Kluwe to punt. This time a high kick, but not that deep again. And Parrish runs up, takes a fair catch, and has to dive for it to make the grab at the 42-yard line. 12-12 remaining third quarter. Right now, Tampa Bay looking good on the road here in Minneapolis. Greg Schiano's first year as head coach of the Tampa Bay Bucks. Started off, played with your brother, Bucknell.
Go Bison.
Go Bison. And then on as a grad assistant under Joe Paterno at Penn State. Defensive coordinator at the University of Miami. And then on to 10 years at Rutgers, where he turned the Scarlet Knights into a winner. And now trying to do the same with Tampa Bay in his first year in the NFL as a head coach. And great job so far tonight by his troops to lead by 17 on the road.
He's a smart guy. Is he a tough guy? Yes. Is he a little controversial? What happened in the Giants game and how they played at the end of a couple different games? It's been very controversial around the league. But one thing with Greg Schiano, he's smart, he's tough, and that's what you're going to get every week.
Martin And again, he pops it through the first wave. Brinkley and Robinson bring him down, but he picked up 5 more.
Now, he and Butch Davis met up at the University of Miami. He brought Butch in to be a special assistant to the head coach here in Tampa Bay, and I don't know how long he's going to be able to hold on to Butch, because I think he's going to end up as a head coach somewhere pretty soon.
Saw Butch before the game, and he echoed those sentiments. Can't wait to get back in it as a coach full time. There's a lot of people that probably would like to have him as a head coach. Yep. Dallas Clark in motion at second down at 5. The stretch play to Martin. Made the first man miss, and there he goes again. And Martin inside the 45-yard line. Another 10-yard gain.
You know, you can't say enough about the guy that's helping him on these gains. It's Eric Lorig, the fullback. Watch the block he gets on the linebacker. I believe it was Jasper Brinkley, 54, right in the hole, right on top of him. He just rolls him over. Now you make the cut back, which he does. And it's the offensive line, it's the fullback, and these are two teams that believe in the concept of a fullback, which is a little bit atypical in today's NFL.
You're right about that. That fullback is in motion, so they're probably going to run that way, and they do. Kind of hides behind him and then cuts it out to the left side and got to the 40-yard line. Martin, one of a couple of first-round draft choices in the NFL from the running back position, the other being Trent Richardson, who came out of Alabama. If you take a look at their numbers right now, that was before the game. Doug Martin's added way over 100 yards to that total so far.
And to be fair to Trent Richardson, he's been a little bit banged up and playing with an injury, so it's tough at this point to try to compare the two. However, I'll tell you that kid right there is special. He's a 3-down back. He catches the football and he understands pass protection.
Strong and fast and shifty. Freeman, quick slant, got it to Williams. Williams has a first down inside the 30. And a pickup of 12.
You know, and this is a big receiver, 6'2", 212. He's got to use his physicality to win. He's not fast. He beats Winfield, just gets his hands on him, uses that big body, catches it, and cleanly gets off the field away from, off the press coverage of Antoine Winfield.
Tampa Bay threatening again at the 27-yard line of Minnesota. Any kind of points here, and it's going to be tough sledding for the Vikings to find their way back in this football game.
Yeah, the Vikings defense have to make a play, Brad.
LeGarrette Blount in the backfield, giving Martin a breather, as Alex said they would. And he'll get the carry. He's a different kind of back, and he doesn't get anything. Maybe a yard. Harrison Smith came up to make the tackle.
I think his value to this team is to take some touches away from Doug Martin, because most rookies at some point hit a wall.
Yeah.
They're not used to that 16-game season. So Blount only had 25 carries coming into today, but he's 247 pounds. He's got good straight line speed, and you've got to give that rookie tailback a little bit of rest if you want to keep him healthy all season long.
Remember, 2 years ago, Blount was a 1,000-yard rusher in his own right. They fake it to him. Freeman comes up firing on second down and 9. Complete on the pass, but Josh Robinson immediately made the hit on Williams, and it'll bring up third down.
And Blount did just a good enough job on Jared Allen to give him a lane to throw in. And again, ever since a shaky start, I think Josh Freeman's been pretty solid tonight.
Yes, he has. And they've kept him pretty clean considering that front four of Minnesota.
And that's a really good point they have. They've been consistent up front.
Martin's back in. Third down and 3. Again, Dallas Clark, the motion man. There's going to be a pitch to Martin, but there was a whistle. Shiano might have called a timeout, I think, before the play.
Yeah, he sprinted about 20 yards down the field to get it.
The Buccaneers take a timeout with exactly 8 minutes remaining in the third quarter, threatening Minnesota again. Downtown Minneapolis, where the Vikings were hoping to go to 6-2, and things are not looking so good for them right now. Greg Schiano, look at him run down the sideline to make the timeout call, and then he just takes the official with him. What did you say? That's more tackles than he had at Bucknell?
That's one more tackle than he had at Bucknell.
Third down and 3. Empty backfield for Josh Freeman. Plenty of time to throw. A streak down the sideline. Could have been picked off. Jefferson was there. Smith came over. And that was the play the Vikings were looking to make.
Yeah, they were trying to get a rub route there with Vincent Jackson rubbing off the outside receiver. And I think if Jefferson didn't get a piece, Harrison Smith might have picked it. Just going to run a little rub right there. Jefferson does a good job, and Smith is coming in behind it. Look at the long arms of Jefferson. Like him, he's 6'1", 190, and runs extremely well.
2 for 2 tonight for Barth, 28 and 40. This is a 38-yard attempt to try to make it a 20-point game. And it's good. Someone of the Vikings got some good penetration, but didn't get the hand in the right spot. So Tampa adds to its lead. Almost Halloween time. This guy's been freakish tonight, I'll tell you that much. Brad Nessler, Mike Mayock, Alex Flanagan at Mall of America Field in Minneapolis, where right now the Buccaneers are dominating the Vikings. Percy Harvin finally gets a touch from the end zone, and he'll bring it out. Percy Harvin across the 20, 30, and out to the 34-yard line, and you can feel the electricity in the building when he gets his hands on it. The kicker made the tackle.
And the guy averages 35 yards a kickoff return. So that was just average, and he almost broke it.
That was 43 officially. So the 36-yard line is where Minnesota goes to work. First kickoff return of the game by either team. These kickers have kept it out of the return guy's hands for the most part.
Down. Ready.
Blitz coming. Picked up. Ponder going deep on the sideline. Out of bounds. They tried that play 2 or 3 times to Jerome Simpson, and it worked once.
Jerome Simpson's got to give him more room on that sideline to make the throw. That's a good job by E.J. Biggers forcing him into the line. There's no play you can't catch the football there. That receiver's got to be approximately 5 to 7 yards inside the sideline to give his quarterback an angle to throw it.
Now let's see if they go back to the ground to Adrian Peterson. And Adrian Peterson pops it into the secondary. Peterson at midfield. Foot race now. Adrian Peterson's going to win that race. Touchdown, Minnesota. He's a big play waiting to happen, and it just did.
They pulled Jeff Schwartz, Jerome Felton, the fullback. I thought 81 right there almost was going to get called for a block in the back. Jerome Simpson, he doesn't. I'm scared right there. That's really close to a block in the back, and you probably didn't need to make that effort because Peterson was going to score anyway.
4th rushing touchdown of the year. The man they call all day. We still got all night left. Don't go away. 64-yard touchdown. Minnesota works its way back into the game again. It's safe to say Adrian Peterson is in the great category. Just showed his speed coming off that knee injury of a year ago, less than a year ago, and now he's passed Robert Smith. Chuck Foreman had 1,700-yard games for the Vikings. Robert Smith 29, and now Adrian Peterson's all alone in the record books, and he is the all-time leading Viking rusher. Ben won't bring this one out, and Tampa Bay will work from the 20.
What did Peterson tell us in our meeting yesterday? That his goal going into every season is 2,500 combined yards.
Right. As a receiver and a running back, pretty lofty goal. But he certainly seems like a guy capable of doing it one of these years.
He had close to 800 coming in. He's over 900 now. Not quite the pace yet, but again, this Minnesota offense is going to struggle to manufacture anything.
By the way, Adrian Peterson, at least temporarily, this being the first game of the weekend, is the NFL's leading rusher right now. But the 2 guys that were in front of him will have their chance on Sunday. Freeman, nice play fake, comes across the middle, incomplete. Jackson's been shut out since the first half. The Bucs have scored on 6 of their 9 drives tonight. But remember, a couple of Minnesota turnovers, both in their own territory, led to a short field and 10 of those points.
It's a 13-point differential right now, and you're right. That's the difference in a competitive game.
The 3rd highest total ever for a Buccaneer quarterback was what Josh Freeman had last week, 420 yards in the loss to New Orleans. In a shootout with Drew Brees that Drew Brees won. They fake the slant. They give it off on a draw to Martin, and for the first time tonight, the Vikings are going to bottle him up without him doing any further damage. Kevin Williams, who's been around a long time and been to a lot of Pro Bowls, in on the stop.
And Brad, you mentioned earlier in the game that Tampa has given up some leads in the past. Watching the tape last week of the New Orleans game, Tampa scored their first 3 possessions. They're up 21-7, ultimately lost the football game. And this place is starting to get loud.
Third down and 10. Jared Allen hasn't had a sack yet tonight. He was coming in a hurry, and they threw the screen right by his helmet. But DJ Ware, rather, didn't get enough for the first down.
I think it was Harrison Smith who was buzzing out underneath the wide receiver, read the tailback screen very quickly, came up and made the tackle. And that was a big tackle. That forces a punt.
And what a huge play for the Vikings defense, because after scoring the touchdown, they forced Tampa Bay to give it right back to them.
That's a huge play right there that Harrison Smith made.
Kane to kick. Sherrills backpedals to the 16-yard line. Sherrills coming up the sideline. Knocked out of bounds, or he might have had a big gainer. As it is, he got it out around the 30-yard line. 57-yard punt, but a 14-yard return. Right now, the Vikings try to turn this game around. Play action. Ponder in trouble. He's going down. Back at the 20. Mason Foster. Quincy Black. Second sack of the night.
Yeah, Peterson's going to bring up right here, and he's going to get, I believe, the safety, Barron. He gets the safety, but there's a late blitz right there. Good job by Mason Foster. Ponder can't pull the trigger. A couple of sacks tonight, right?
Yep, that's the second one.
They only had 8 heading into tonight.
Now the Vikings put themselves in a long yardage situation again. Second down at 20. Peterson jumps into the hole, spins his way for about 4. Mark Barron made initial contact. Rondé Barber helped him out, and now it's going to be third down, and the Vikings would like to keep this drive going, but it's going to be third down and about 16.
Mark Barron
17.
Mark Barron brought everything he had on that tackle and bounced all. He's like, man, I thought the SEC was pretty good, but this cat's different.
Two-time All-American at Alabama. Vikings have to be careful with this one for Christian Ponder, whose confidence has been a little shaken over the last 2.5 weeks. Throws complete across the 30 to Michael Jenkins, but it's going to be fourth down.
We asked Adrian Peterson about that Oklahoma Notre Dame game. He said he's got 5 teammates on this Vikings team that went to Notre Dame, and he gave them all 17 points. I was like, you kidding me?
I think those 5 Notre Dame guys are thinking about getting their own private plane to go down to Norman for that big game on Saturday night.
I don't think they're thinking about it. I think they did it.
It's a doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Punt. Roscoe Parrish has to run up on second time tonight. He's had to hit the deck to make a catch, but he made it.
Yeah, after he fumbled the first one of the night.
Right. Having a little bit of trouble.
This one scares me. Close the elbows. Easiest way to lose a punt is to leave those elbows wide open. Giano's saying let it bounce, right?
But he does save a few yards probably at the 30-yard line. 3:59 remaining third quarter. Minnesota came up with a stop the last time, forced the punt, but they couldn't do anything with it because of the sack on Ponder. And that's Josh Freeman's turn to go to work with his sensational rookie tailback behind him in the eye. The stretch play to Martin, trying to follow his fullback, and this time Minnesota again has got it defended well.
Christian Ballard, second-year player from Iowa, did a really nice job hustling down the line of scrimmage and making a play. Plenty of time here. There should be no panic on either side.
Let's see if Freeman's going to put one up on 2nd down and 10. Again, they don't get any pressure on him, and he fires down the sideline. Incomplete. Vincent Jackson makes a diving attempt over there. And now we got a fight going on in the backfield. Jared Allen's in the middle of that with Donald Penn.
Yeah, I don't think Jared Allen liked the way he got blocked that time by Donald Penn.
And he's got the bridge of his nose is bleeding as well.
Working on the left tackle, Donald Penn. Now Penn's holding him a little bit there, pushes him down, stays on him, and now he jumps on him. That's the part right there that Allen objected to. Okay, you pushed me down, but you don't have to jump on me. And from there, you can call that both ways.
There are 2 fouls. Personal foul, grabbing the face mask, number 69, defense. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 70, offense. By rule, those penalties offset. 3rd down.
And if Jared Allen didn't look like a mean defensive end when the game started with the blood streaming down his face, he does now.
Yeah, I would suggest that we kind of isolate on these guys for a couple plays and see what happens, huh? You know, once a player is down, especially a veteran player, they don't like that offensive lineman jumping on.
3rd down and 10. You think Jared Allen's going to be coming strong here? They're not exchanging phone numbers. And no text message needed. I think we get the drift.
Donald Penn's own teammates are getting on him.
They're probably telling him it's hard enough in this building. Don't make it worse.
They're having conversations with both head coaches.
And here we go. 3rd down and 10. If Minnesota gets a stop, this place is going to explode. And now half the Tampa Bay staff is on the field. Timeout.
I don't understand how the people bringing the water on the field can be on the field before the refs blow a whistle. They got 2 or 3 guys running off the bench from Tampa Bay with water, and there was not a timeout call. Watch at the top of your screen. He's trying to call a timeout, and here they all come. Well, I guess he got the call in. He got the call in.
Mike Sullivan, the offensive coordinator, trying to talk to his quarterback in a huddle. And I'm sure it's very hard to be heard even at that close range right now. Donald Penn is going to have to line up against Jared Allen on this next snap. And Jared Allen still pleading his case to the officials. So Tampa Bay's down to 1 timeout.
I think this is the best thing that could have happened to Minnesota was that skirmish right there.
3rd down and 10. Plug your ears. Freeman. They got to him. Jared Allen is the reason.
Oh, yeah. Who didn't know that was going to happen?
I think we have a fired up Minnesota Viking team right now.
Yeah, they get Jared Allen and Everson Griffin on the same side, and they just collapse the left side of the offensive line.
You couldn't script that for a movie.
Brad, I'm serious. That's the best thing that could have happened for Minnesota was that fight. Got the crowd in the game, and it's got Allen going hard.
Kane into punt. Charles has to get out of the way and let it go out of bounds, which it does at about the 29-yard line.
Now let's take a look at this sack. They collapse Nix and Penn. Your two best pass rushers over here, Allen and Everson Griffin. Griffin comes through, Allen cleans up, and it was deafening in here. Look at the leverage he plays with. He gets underneath Penn. Penn had no shot that time.
Allen 6 straight games with at least 1 sack, and wrap them up and rope them and tie them. And now Minnesota's got the ball back.
Yeah, and let's give a lot of credit to Everson Griffin on that sack too.
Now can the Vikings offense take over where their defense left off? Peterson cuts it outside, and he got tagged on the corner. Nice play by Michael Bennett, the defensive end.
I think Bennett is one of the more underrated players in this league. He came into the game with 4 sacks. He's stout against the run. Peterson coming off the field. No,
coming out as a wide receiver.
Yep.
They put themselves in long yardage, though, again, like they did with a sack the last time they had it. This one not as bad. 2nd down and 12.
It's like zone coverage because the corner's on Peterson.
Ponder steps up, might run with it now. He got a block, got across the 30, and it was Peterson that threw the block that got him to the edge.
That's a good call, Ness. He got the block on the defensive tackle, Roy Miller.
A couple of guys, both from Oklahoma.
Usually when you're a back or a wide receiver peeling back, what you're hoping for is a low number. You don't want that big defensive tackle running right at you. And real good job by Peterson.
And I got to think this is the biggest 3rd down of the ball game for Minnesota. After their defense came up with a big play, they don't want to have to give it right back to the Buccaneers. And it's a low snap. Ponder's got to scoop it and just cover it. And so they went the wrong way again with their offensive series. Wow. Wasted opportunity by the Viking offense with 1:41 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
Daquan Bowers is just going to clean up. Ponder looking to his right, getting ready for the snap. It comes back and hits him in the ankle. Here comes Bowers, just activated off PUP today. And Brad, you said it exactly right. I mean, that's the definition of implosion right there.
Yep.
You got everything going your way in your building, and that happens.
Roscoe Parrish has made it pretty interesting on punt returns tonight. Flags fly immediately on the kick. This one he'll take cleanly at the 25 and then tripped himself up. But again, a penalty marker down. I think it's going to be a face mask, maybe the preliminary indication.
Yeah, Donald Penn, the big left tackle, got paid big money to re-sign with Tampa Bay a couple years ago.
During the kick, personal foul, grasping the face mask. Number 29 receiving team, 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
So that's going to back it up. Jared Allen, the All-Pro, at 22 sacks a year ago, a team record, mixing it up with Donald Penn all night long. And it really erupted on the last series with this altercation. And that led to Jared Allen's 1st sack after the offsetting personal foul penalty.
And here's the part right there that Allen didn't like. All right, you're down. I'm down. You beat me. Don't keep coming. And I don't blame him.
And he is part defensive end, part cheerleader. Igniting the crowd again here late in the 3rd quarter. Martin, he'll be dragged down after a gain of only a yard. And another penalty marker in the mix. And again, Ron Winter with the call.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Defense, a 5-yard penalty from the end of the run, and a first down.
You notice we didn't get a number there?
I know. I think right now the officials are trying to regain control of the game and not let what's going on at the line of scrimmage escalate again. As it is, first down. Play clock, I think, is what the issue is right here.
And Josh Freeman wants it reset, and there it goes. Went back to 25.
First down at the 19. Martin draw play, lost yardage. Loss of a couple. Allen in on the stop.
Yeah, they had a blitz between the center, guard, hole, and Jared Allen also won against Penn that time.
Maybe the best thing that could happen to the Buccaneers right now is the third quarter come to a close, because if they had to run a couple more plays and got back into a third down situation, this place would go crazy again.
I think you're right.
Jared Allen asking for more noise. Folks here at Mall of America Field at the Metrodome can take a little breather and then come to life when the fourth quarter starts. We played 3. Intensity picking up in Minneapolis. End of 3. Buccaneers 30-17.
It's Monday night, the night that unites us all. Whether we're watching from our favorite chair, enjoying a little pregame snack, seeing how many points we need to win, or doing whatever we have to do to make kickoff.
And the princess says, never mind, and that's the end.
That's not how the story goes.
That's how it goes tonight.
No matter what our plans are, we all know one thing. It all comes down to Monday night.
Heading into the fourth quarter, Tampa Bay leading Minnesota 30-17. A sensational night as both a runner and a receiver for Doug Martin, the rookie out of Boise State. Adrian Peterson over 100 yards, but a fumble that led to points. In fact, the Bucs have 10 points off Minnesota turnovers, and the Vikings can't find the passing game again, and they're going to need it in this final 15 minutes. Brad Nessler, Mike Mayock, Alex Flanagan as we head to the fourth in Minneapolis, where the 5-2 Vikings are looking for a comeback. And Tampa Bay looking to snap a long road skid. They've lost their last 9 road games. Their last win away from home, guess where? Right here. Last year. Second down, 12. Draw play. Martin puts his head down and blasts out to the 23, where it's going to bring up a third down and long situation.
And Brad, making things more difficult for Minnesota. Remember, Chris Cook went out of the game, went in for x-rays. He's not shown up since then. So out on the corners right now, they're playing with A.J. Jefferson, who they picked up this year, and rookie Josh Robinson. Makes it a little bit more difficult.
And Alex says that Cook is definitely out for the rest of the game.
Antoine Winfield plays the nickel position or one of the corners, depending on what the personnel is with the offense.
And right now, Jared Allen's going to look like Usain Bolt getting in a track stance. Third down and 6. Here they come. Freeman steps up and throws complete across the 30 to Jackson. And a first down, Tampa Bay. And that quiets the crowd to a whisper.
And this time he's working on Marcus Sherrills, number 35. That's stealing right there. Just an arm over, gets the young defensive back turned, and then breaks out on the out cut. That was stealing, and that's what happens when you lose some depth in your secondary. That's a mismatch.
Both of Jackson's catches were on third down so far tonight.
That was a big catch there.
Minnesota hasn't been able to come up with a turnover. Blunt He's all wrapped up. Greenway on the stop along with Henderson.
Yeah, Aaron Henderson did a really nice job at the point of attack. Remember, Laurie has been attacking them, the fullback, all night long. That time, Henderson came up, took him on, and made the tackle.
Clock working its way down to 13 minutes remaining in the football game. Minnesota down 2 scores. Second down at 10. Blunt stays in there in the backfield along with the fullback Lorig. It's a draw play to Blunt. Hit at the line of scrimmage. Christian Ballard in on the stop. He might be a little bit shaken up after making the stop.
Minnesota's inserting their safety into the run game. You'll see Jamarca Sanford cheat up. He becomes the unblocked defender on this lead draw. Comes up. Laurie goes up in the hole. There's nobody on Sanford, and the safety makes the tackle right at the line of scrimmage, forcing a 3rd and long.
That was LaTroy Guyon that was shaken up. He was helping on the tackle. Here's another 3rd down and long.
Griffin and Allen on the same side again. They're 2 most talented pass rushers lined up on the left guard and the left tackle.
Freeman, here they come. He got rid of it, and it's caught by Underwood. Wow. Boy, that was heavy pressure, and Freeman stood in there tall as he is at 6'6" and fired that thing good for 12 yards.
Nix and Penn, the left guard and tackle, had all they could do to hang in here. Watch Penn anchor, re-anchor. Freeman stays in. That's a good throw and catch, and I like the protection.
Now he's in the shotgun on 1st down, and they'll roll him out to throw. And incomplete. Underwood was the closest guy. Well, you saw Mike Sullivan, the offensive coordinator, say, "We're good, just calm down." He's had a good game. As you said, Josh started as shaky as Ponder did, but then he warmed up, and Christian Ponder really hasn't.
Yeah, I like what Mike Sullivan talked about with, having been with Eli, big-bodied, strong quarterback. And what he said is the last couple of weeks in practice, you could see Josh Freeman come on and starting to really trust both Mike Williams and Vincent Jackson. And when you say a quarterback trusts his receivers, it means when you get a one-on-one shot, you take it and let your guy make a play.
2nd and 10, inside draw. Martin has a flag down. We might have a holding call in the mix.
Yeah, I thought the left guard, Nix, mauled one of the linebackers. 77, Nix.
Holding. Offense number 76. That penalty's declined. Makes it 3rd down.
So they declined the penalty, and it's 3rd down at the 49.
Aaron Henderson's going out. I think that's who the left guard Nix had gotten both arms wrapped around, and he can't get off the field right now.
Well, they've converted 3rd downs on this drive. A 3rd and 6, they got 14, and on a 3rd and 10, they found Underwood for 12. Here it is, 3rd and 10 again.
Josh Freeman is asking for the 25-second clock to be reset because of the injury. And it has been.
Now we're set on a 3rd and 10 from the 49.
Yeah, big 3rd down here, Brad Nessler. Big 3rd down.
Freeman's been pretty darn good on 3rd down tonight. This time he throws deep on the sideline, and it's caught by Williams. What a grab on what looked like an A.J. Jefferson possibility for an interception.
And what did we just talk about? A quarterback trusting a receiver in a one-on-one situation to make a play. A.J. Jefferson's got some pretty good coverage here. But look where this football's put. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Is that a great catch? Really good throw. And, Brad, last year, Josh Freeman wouldn't even attempt that throw. And I think that's what Mike Sullivan was trying to say to us. One-on-one, trust your receiver to make a play. Beautiful.
And he goes up and just out jumps Jefferson on the corner for the 1st down inside the 20 at the 17. Martin, no gain on that one.
Minnesota doing a much better job against the run game now. They're getting that 8th guy, that safety, and that time was Harrison Smith.
Harrison Smith back padding on the back of his helmet coming off after that last tackle. A loss of a yard, so it's 2nd down and 11. Minnesota's defense has been out there a long time tonight.
Yeah, a lot of snaps.
This is the 12th play just of this Buccaneer drive. Again, little draw on the inside, gets it back across the original line of scrimmage, but it's still going to bring up 3rd down and about 9.
They've converted some key 3rd downs on this drive. It's gotten them into field goal range. 3rd and 10 to Underwood. They pick up 12. 3rd and 10. They hit Mike Williams for 34. 3rd and 6 early in the drive for 14.
Started this drive 71 yards ago, and that's 3rd down and 9 at the 16. Freeman throws the slant. Williams makes the catch, and he's got it 1st and goal at the 6.
Rookie corner Josh Robinson, 3rd round pick out of Central Florida, kind of fell on the transition. Watch when he goes to the slant to the inside. He slips and falls. That makes it an easy throw. And the big-bodied Michael Williams is having a pretty big day here, especially here in the 2nd half, taking some of the pressure off the Tampa Bay offense.
Boy, if they score a touchdown here, Minnesota, the way their passing game has been tonight, I don't think there's a shot.
You're right.
We're already down to 8.5 minutes remaining. 1st and goal at the 5. Martin got a couple. Greenway made the stop. And now everything's in Tampa Bay's favor. They've got it down at the 3-yard line. The clock is running. And they've got a 13-point lead, trying to make it 20.
Michael Williams has 6 catches tonight for 68. And what the coaches kept telling us last night from Tampa Bay was Vincent Jackson has done more than be a big play receiver for us. He's teaching Michael Williams how to become a professional, and it's showing up first on the practice field and now in game situations.
Christian Ponder can only pace that Minnesota sideline. 8-minute drive. It's just chewing up this quarter. Freeman fade for Jackson. Incomplete. Knocked away by Josh Robinson.
Yeah, I thought I heard whistles there.
Timeout.
Tampa Bay's final timeout. Timeout called. You're a head coach. Sometimes you have to run sprints.
Dude's been getting a workout tonight. Look at him over here.
There's Greg Schiano coming down, and he got the timeout right before that last snap. But that was their final timeout. Not that it probably will have an effect on the rest of this game, especially if they get a touchdown here. They started this drive at their own 13-yard line. 15th play right now. 2nd and goal at the 3.
They're double teaming up on top of the screen. Run the ball.
Martin got to the legs of his fullback at about the 1-yard line.
Yeah, they made it pretty evident they were going to take the wide receiver out of that play, Vincent Jackson. Good job by Freeman calling the run.
And that's 3rd and goal at the 1. You know, when you got a quarterback that weighs 240 pounds in his career, he's 19 for 19 on converting 3rd and 1 rushing situations. Maybe let him do it.
You calling on that now?
I don't know.
Is that the call? I wouldn't be surprised to see play action again.
They did it once from the 1-yard line. Martin digging in, and he got there. Touchdown. Doug Martin capping a sensational night with another touchdown.
Jared Allen tried to tackle him with his back. He could go for 2 here for the point differential. But Jared Allen got turned around and tried the very unconventional way. Well, look at Allen with his back turned, trying to keep him out of the end zone. It's tough enough to tackle that dude front ways, Jared.
Mike, the Bucs were 5 for 5 on 3rd downs on that drive.
Oh, man.
And that was a long drive that started way back at their own 13-yard line. That's how you eat up the clock and win football games on the road. 16 plays, 87 yards, 9 minutes, 9 seconds.
And now that they're into this point in the 4th quarter, he's going to go for 2 because he wants to get this thing to 21 points.
This would be a huge road win to snap the long road losing skid and put Tampa Bay in the thick of things in the NFC South. We understand the Giants have won tonight to take a 2-0 lead in the World Series. You talk about a giant performance. How about Doug Martin tonight? 234 yards. He was a star at Boise State last year, and he's already a star in the National Football League. Adrian Peterson, a fumble that he'd like to have back. That led to points for the Buccaneers, 10 off turnovers, and then a 9+ minute drive, 9 minutes and 9 seconds on 16 plays that just covered 87 yards, and it ended with this play that's under review on whether or not Martin got in from a yard out. Kept the wheels churning right there.
His lower body strength is awesome.
I don't think his knee ever goes down until he's across the goal line.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It looked good to me.
After review, the ruling on the field stands.
Yep.
It is a touchdown.
Came in as the third leading rusher among rookies, and he's having a huge night here in Minnesota.
I remember the first tape I put on to watch him at Boise, and I was just so impressed with his burst and acceleration, number one, his ability to catch the football, number two, and then just his all-around toughness, whether it's finishing runs, whether it's his lower body strength, or even pass protection.
So the Buccaneers going for the 2-point conversion here.
Spread them wide.
Freeman. Fade to Williams. Can't hold it. A.J. Jefferson covering. So the lead stays where it is. 36-17. Doug Martin, the star of the show here tonight. Another Viking joined the Ring of Honor here at Mall of America Field of the Metrodome tonight. Longtime linebacker Matt Blair, number 59, blocked 20 kicks in his career as a Minnesota Viking linebacker, and joined the group in the ring. Alan Page, Bill Boom Boom Brown, Carl Eller, that's Fred Zamberletti, and former Viking coach Gary Burns, Chuck Foreman, Randall McDaniel, and Scott Studwell was the last guy. He hugged all those guys in the Ring of Honor here in Minnesota, and Matt, definitely a worthy choice there.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. He's a heck of a player.
Did you have a particular favorite growing up around here?
I liked all those guys.
Did you?
Yeah.
I
like this guy too, but it's going to be a losing effort for Adrian Peterson tonight.
Yeah.
Percy Harvin can only catch it over his head and not stay in the end zone.
You know, Ness, you grew up in this area. You worked in this building, right?
Yep.
There's some memories we have here. And I'm kind of digging the hair.
Come on.
Are you kidding me? Did you have a chain that went with that hair?
That is bad. The hair got a little better there.
Look at this. In the radio, left side, you got that hair combed back a little bit. Oh, there's a good one. You look like you're 11.
Yes, I do. I wish I still did. I appreciate that, guys. Talk
Good
about
stuff,
getting
man.
run over by the truck. Thanks, fellas. It's great. Michael Jenkins in motion. Here's a quick toss out to Percy Harvin. Got 10. We're very close to it. Well, the Vikings look like they're going to fall to 5-3. Still one of the surprises in this season so far as we head into the full weekend of games. A lot of big stories, injuries, the return of Joe Vitt as interim coach for the Saints. And they can use all the help they can get, but they're starting to play pretty well right now. Maybe just in the nick of time, but Joe Vitt will return as the Saints head coach. Panthers fired their general manager this week. A couple of key injuries. Charles Woodson for the Packers and Sean Lee, the leading tackler for the Cowboys, both out. Story tonight is going to be what number 7 hasn't been able to do tonight for the Vikings.
I'll give you
that's going to continue.
I'll give you another story. Percy Harvin on about the 45-yard line, bent over with the trainer next to him, Eric Sugarman. He came out. I thought he was holding after that big hit. I thought like shoulder, collarbone. I'm not trying to speculate on anything, but as soon as he took that hit 2 snaps ago, he headed for the sideline.
That takes away their biggest outside threat as a receiver when they only have 6 minutes to work with. Ponder, deep sideline, got his man open there, and that's Michael Jenkins. Out of bounds, but into Buccaneer territory. A pickup of 28.
I think Ponder did a good job. Eyes were down the middle of the field. He knew exactly what he was going to do coming back to his left. Jenkins was in the hole between the corner and the safety, and he ripped it to him. Held the safety. Comes all the way back, opens up the shoulders and the hips, knows he's there.
He'd like to have about 15 more of those tonight, wouldn't he?
Yep.
Going to throw short to his safety valve here. That's Toby Gerhardt. Gerhardt's going to be close to another first down. I think he's got it.
Yeah, good burst by Gerhardt. Caught the football, stuck his foot in the ground, got up a little quicker than I thought he could, getting up the field. Heck of a baseball player at Stanford, too.
Percy Harvin's back in there. Empty backfield for Christian Ponder. Vikings need points, and they need them quickly. Here's the flare out to Percy. Finally got to the 20-yard line. And the Vikings have to get up to the line on every snap now with just 5 minutes remaining.
You know, Mike Jenkins was the wide receiver on that play. He was, before the snap, he was putting his hands up in the air like, what's the call? And he didn't even realize he was the lead blocker on the bubble screen. He ran a route.
That's why Percy Harvin only got 3 yards. And now Ponder rolling left, trying to square his shoulders up. Now he'll get what he can and get out of bounds. A yard shy of the first down.
He had Gerhardt a couple of times, and he tried to get greedy down the field and ended up just having to run it out of bounds. Brian Fusco, the right guard, got jacked right back in his lap, which is why he had to escape to his left.
Well, Vikings in 2-down territory. Doesn't really matter that it's 3rd and 2, as the clock is stopped with 4:38. And if they could get it in the end zone, we'd be seeing an onside kick. But they need to hustle. That's Jenkins again in motion to the slot on the left side of Ponder. Pump fakes that way and now throws it that way. And Jenkins was the intended receiver, looking for a holding call on Eric Wright. He doesn't get it. And the crowd reacts.
Yeah, they were looking for Jenkins the whole time there. Remember we talked earlier about somebody else has to win one-on-one. This is an opportunity right here to win one-on-one. Now, that's not a win. It's a good back shoulder throw, but Eric Wright's all over Jenkins, and outside of Peterson and Harvin, they're really struggling finding somebody that can win, and that guy right there, Bill Sheridan, the defensive coordinator, I think has called a heck of a game for the Bucs.
Might be the last time Minnesota touches it here if they don't convert. 4th down and 2. And everybody jumping.
Khalil saw Michael Bennett jump, I think, and he jumped. You could call Tampa Bay in the neutral zone here. Might have been Daquan Bowers. I mean, it was right over the center, I think.
Daquan happy to be back in business.
False start. Offense number 75. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
And Khalil, a rookie left tackle. So they make it harder on themselves. And that's been the story all night long for Minnesota. 4th down and 7.
Has Kyle Rudolph caught a pass tonight?
He's got one. Ponder hit as he throws, and it harmlessly goes incomplete. Teon Eschheim with the hit on Ponder, and as I said, that might be the last time the Vikings even touch it on offense.
Yeah, that was
4:29 remaining.
Another pass protection bust, untouched.
When your quarterback's having a night as rough as he's had, it doesn't help when he's getting hit every time he tries to throw.
It's an overload blitz. You got to block this inside out. You can't let any of the inside guys come.
4:29 remaining. Tampa Bay en route to a win on the road. They've made it a rough night for the second-year quarterback, Christian Ponder. So the Buccaneers take over with a big lead and 4:29 remaining. And an end around on the way. Ben Oh, man, took a big shot from the rookie Harrison Smith at the end of that run.
Yeah, he did. That's an aggressive first-round safety, Harrison Smith, who I think is having a heck of a year.
You mentioned he's had a couple of fines, and then he, whether inadvertently or not, ran into an official and got tossed out of another game. Timeout. The Bucs about to go to 3-4, and when you take a look at their upcoming schedule, and that looks pretty good for them. They might be in the 6-win category when they take on Atlanta. Who knows?
Yeah, they continue to play consistently in all 3 phases, and this is a team under Greg Schiano that's playing hard, fast, tough, aggressive football, no doubt. With some big wideouts too.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, and actually Mike Williams has been bigger than Vincent Jackson, not in stature tonight, but with the number of catches and the big plays that he's made.
Yeah, 6 catches for 68 and a touchdown. Vincent Jackson only 2 catches for 40, but he'll take the W any day of the week.
Adrian Peterson, the all-time Viking leader in 100-yard games, but it's going to be in a losing effort unless something very strange happens in the next 4 minutes and 22 seconds. LeGarrette Blount, stiff arm, reverses his field across the 30, blasts his way out to the 36-yard line. The Vikings, things are going to get tough for them.
Oh yeah,
they'll fall to 5-3 at Seattle. That's
a
not an
brutal
easy trip.
place to play right there.
You talk about noise. That's noisy.
Yeah,
then
man.
Detroit, and then they get a bye, and then they hit the division hard. Chicago, 2 of the 3 weeks with Green Bay mixed in between. That is not an easy slate for Minnesota.
And let's be honest about Minnesota. I'm excited for them. They're a young team. I think Rick Spielman and Leslie Frazier have this thing turned in the right direction. I think 5-2 was an optimistic start. That's not who they are yet, but they're headed in the right direction. 2
more wins than all of last season. A disastrous 3-13, but I know the folks in Minnesota are going to go home disappointed that it's not 6-2 instead of 5-3 after this one. I think they had high hopes against a Tampa team that beat them a year ago, and a Tampa team that's had trouble on the road and hadn't won since they beat Minnesota last year.
I mean, that's the guy right there, Christian Ponder. He's got to continue to develop, and they also need to find another weapon, because people are going to squat all over Percy Harvin in the pass game, and Peterson's going to see 8- and 9-man fronts all season long.
Under 3 minutes. Another dose of LeGarrette Blount, who puts both hands around the football, gets out for a yard or so. Key games coming up on Sunday. I mentioned one of them earlier. The Falcons are undefeated, but after the bye week, they've got to take on the Eagles on the road, Giants, and the Cowboys, always a huge affair. New Orleans with Drew Brees playing very well, and their coach, or interim coach at least, Joe Vitt back.
Yeah.
And that'll be a shootout with Peyton Manning and the Broncos, and then an NFC West battle on Monday night. 49ers, the Cardinals, who started off 4-0, but now they've hit a skid. And we saw San Francisco last week in their win on Thursday night.
You know, Kansas City at 1-5, conceivably not even out of it.
Blount, little stop and start, and gets across the 40 to the 41. Minnesota takes its final timeout with 2:44 remaining. Doug Martin, what a night he's put in. Jared Allen, that one play that he made, it almost looked like Minnesota could sort of turn things around if their offense, when they got it back after that 3rd down and the fight that he had with Tampa Bay's left tackle. And that ignited the crowd. At that point, it's 30-17, and if Minnesota could have gotten anything going on offense or even gotten points out of that, I think this maybe would have ended up a little bit differently.
Yeah, you know, you give up 10 points off turnovers in the first half. That hurts you. It's a 20-10 ball game. They've been fighting that uphill battle the entire game.
Ball takes a Tampa Bay bounce. I got to think right now the folks in Tampa, they've been a little frustrated. You know, they came in 4 losses, but by a total of 22 points, and you can say all that stuff about, hey, it's the best 2-4 team or whatever in the NFL. But right now I think they got to be smiling down in Tampa.
Yeah, and I think there's a reason to be smiling. And I think what you see is a young, aggressive, tough football team. Are they a playoff team this year? You know, probably not, but they're getting better. Right. What I like is the combination of Greg Schiano, the head coach, and their general manager, Mark Dominic. I think they're joined at the hip. I think they had a really good draft this past year, as did Minnesota. And I think what we're looking at is 2 of the younger teams in the league that a year or 2 from now will start to hit their stride.
Christian Ponder has trouble with the snap. Got it to Michael Jenkins on a slant. Jenkins across midfield for a Minnesota first down. And a pickup of 23, so Jenkins a couple of catches here in the late stages of the ball game.
Good job by Ponder, looking one way, coming back. Tampa sitting in a soft zone.
Another quick slant. Jenkins again. And to the 31 and another first down. So that should take us down to the 2-minute warning. I don't think they're going to get another snap off in time here.
Nope.
And there it is. So the Vikings will have a first down with only a couple of minutes left, though. No other way to stop it for them. Out of timeouts and down 36-17. Last 2 minutes, Minnesota just inside the Bucs 31-yard line. Ponder and hit, and down he goes, and that's been the story of the night. Michael Bennett with the sack, the 3rd of the night, and when Ponder hasn't been sacked, he's been harassed and hit several other times.
Yep, Bennett just cleanly beat the right tackle, load hole.
Here's a throw out complete, where Rudolph's met at the 30-yard line after a pickup of 5.
Rich likes that walk and talk.
He does. He's great at it, too.
I mean, he appreciates and likes it and embraces it.
He does.
I want to get a slow motion of that walk.
Shows strong footwork at all times. Ponder over the middle, completes. And it's Toby Gerhardt out of the backfield down to the 20.
What's that camera we have, an Exmo? Is that what it's called?
I think so.
The extra slow motion. You get that on Eisen. Look at the nose there. Stuff.
Pump fake, and now the throw is intercepted, and that's just going to cap things off for a tough night for Christian Ponder as Leonard Johnson has the interception.
That kid right there was one of my favorite players in the draft last year. He was undrafted out of Iowa State. I thought he was one of the toughest. Little boundary corner. He was speed deficient, but the kid competed every week. Love what he did against Baylor.
Bennett, who had that sack a minute ago, is the guy that's down.
Can't afford to lose him. They're just getting Daquan Bowers back. Here's the throw. Leonard Johnson. Nice job.
So the interception problems for Christian Ponder continue tonight, too. Well, for the Buccaneers, Minnesota is the place to get a road win. Their last one last year. They were down 17 points in that game, and in the second biggest comeback in team history, they won it 24-20 tonight. They never got behind, and they're going to win it going away here 36-17 with just under a minute to go. And they'll just take a knee here. Josh Freeman, the Bucs offense. Last week, Freeman had 420 yards passing. Tonight, they've got 420 yards of total offense. No turnovers, only 1 sack allowed against the Minnesota rush that has been so efficient against everybody. Rondé Barber, who's had a great game defensively in there, is just a safety man standing around the goal line to make sure the ball doesn't pop out or something strange happen. Almost 38 minutes in time of possession tonight. And then a rookie who was absolutely sensational. Over 130 yards rushing, a 64-yard touchdown on a reception mixed into that 75. And definitely the star of the show was Doug Martin. And really both sides of the ball. There's a lot of stars for the Bucs shining tonight inside the dome. And they go to 3-4. They've won 2 of their last 3. Minnesota's going to drop to 5-3 in the very competitive NFC North. Final score 36-17 Tampa. Big win on the road for first-year head coach Greg Schiano. That's going to do it for Mike and I and Alex.